Welcome to Cultural Discovery. I am Shelina Elyse, your host. We are exploring cultures through food and building our confidence in the kitchen. And today is an episode dedicated to my girl Dora because she and I share a great love of mustard, and she gifted me this champagne mustard. It's inspired the recipe today. So what we're going to do is I'll try it out here with you and we'll move along to the recipe. I am not exactly sure how to pronounce this. I believe it might be Cherchies, or if I'm going to take it in the great name of Cher, or Cherchies or Cherchies. So if anyone would like to gently correct me on the brand for this champagne mustard, I would love to say it correctly. This is actually a 40-year-old or mustard that has won so many awards by this company. It's a mustard that is made with champagne. And then, yeah, vinegars, white and champagne vinegars, and then other things that regularly occur with mustard. This has been in the fridge for a little bit, so I'm just going to give it a little stir here. And it smells so good. It smells like that biting heat of usual mustard, but then there's also a sweetness. Okay. That's so interesting. And I've had a dip into this with like crackers and cheese and other things. But just as a reminder, mm, yeah, it's mild, but it's sweet and very tangy. Very interesting. So this is going to give great depth to our recipe. We are doing a chicken cordon bleu. Again, inspired by this mustard here. We're going to need, I'm only doing two chicken breasts. They're quite large. And so for this recipe, we're going to do, I'm going to say 2 tablespoons. And I'll show you when we use that in a second. That is just a gorgeous mustard. Perfect. There we are. Nice. Okay. We're going to leave that there to hang out. And we'll go through the rest of our ingredients. So chicken cordon bleu. Obviously, we're going to need some chicken. What we'll do with this chicken is chicken cordon bleu, you basically butterfly the chicken, do all the seasonings. We'll put ham, Swiss cheese inside, close it, put in some more seasonings, and then we are going to bake it in the oven. So first things first, we're going to butterfly the chicken breasts. These I have rinsed and pat dry just to make sure that they're a little bit easier to use. So you can see that there's a little bit larger side of the chicken breast and a little bit thinner side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the thinner side. So that way the fold that's going to be in my chicken is a little bit thicker, and I can make sure that it's going to hold back together when we flip it. So I'll show you here. Okay, so this is the little bit thinner side, and actually I'm going to approach it like this because I am left-handed. Okay, so I'm just gonna hold this and very gently make an incision into the chicken breast, and then I'm also gonna start pulling it back. So like as you're butterflying, you're going to pull it back. I'm gonna go like this here, and you're gonna try to keep it even. You don't have to go very fast. This isn't a race, but you want to try to keep the halves even so they cook evenly. Okay. And then again, as you continue to move along, do this. Okay. And then we are getting to kind of like a tender part of the chicken breast. So I'm going to make my incision a little bit higher so I can still have some meat on the bottom. Okay. Perfect. Ooh. Okay. And so I think this is gonna be good. And the cut of chicken I have is like chicken breast with rib meat, so that might be why they're a little bit larger. But beautiful, excellent, even. And so we'll do that. We'll come over here and do the same on the other side. So I'm going to start here very carefully. I'm going to move up this way. Okay. As I go to the chicken and pull it back so I can see it a little bit better. Okay. I'm gonna make sure I don't go too far. This little bit here, I can do a little bit more. Okay, that's decent. Nice. Okay, so that's what these are going to look like here. Perfect. I am going to move this over. And what we are going to do is we are going to brush mustard on the inside. So we'll do this here. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so as we do this, I'm going to give you a couple of party facts. So the term cordon bleu actually started a way, way long time ago. I think it was the 15th or the 16th century, and it was an honor bestowed upon like the highest knight by one of the French kings. And then it became associated with chefs, prestigious chefs who made absolutely delicious dishes. And people kind of related it from the knights with the Cordon Bleu honor, which Cordon Bleu, blue ribbon. They would wear a blue ribbon to show their achievement and their status. So that was related to like chef aprons. So chefs would have a particular apron or ribbon on their apron to distinguish them as someone who, you know, had this prestigious dish. It was so delicious. It was amazing. Because, you know, they hadn't really developed resumes or CVs. So to bestow that upon someone really is a high honor to share. This is something that you have made. We appreciate you. So I thought that was really interesting. And the actual chicken cordon bleu is thought to be from France, but it more lends itself to Swiss origins. People think that it came from around World War II or after World War II, Americans being stationed over in Europe, and they just fell in love with basically like meat stuffed with cheese and then breaded. Because this is close to like schnitzel, if you've ever had schnitzel, like meat pounded very thinly, breaded, fried, served. And they brought something home like this. Okay, so I want to make sure. Gosh, this looks delicious. If I weren't spreading this on raw chicken, I would just lick all of these utensils. Like, this mustard is bomb. So even if you're like, man, I don't, chicken cordon bleu, if you've got a charcuterie board situation that you want to dress up, and you want something that's a little special, I would say get this mustard. I think you can find it at like specialty grocery stores or definitely online. I think that's where Dora got it from. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna leave this here because we'll use that later. Put this down. Okay, now we are going to use a garlic and herb seasoning. This also has salt and pepper in it. So we're going to sprinkle this on here. I believe I have a tablespoon in here to put on the inside, but I will share with you later in the breading that we have. I've put some in there as well. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if that's going to get us through this whole recipe, you would be correct because I'm putting it elsewhere. Okay. Gosh, this smells delicious. Okay. Make sure, that's going to be a very tasty spot there. Now we're going to come to the other inside dressings. So I just have deli ham here. But really you can put whatever type of ham, luncheon meat that you would like on the inside. And then also I just have prepackaged cheese slices. You could put more in there. I'm going to use this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to slice. I'm going to take these because I think my butterfly is in here. Yes. Okay. I'm going to just do this like this. And that way, when I flip it over, it's all covered. The ham is pretty large, so I'm just going to leave it alone. But if you've got differently shaped ham slices, just do this. Just make it work for you. Okay, excellent. Now we are going to close the butterfly chicken. Okay. Ooh, ah. Nice. Okay. And you don't necessarily have to have this all like super tucked in, but this has quite extra bit of ham out there, so I'm just gonna help it. And then we have this one as well. I'll turn this around. Maybe you can see it. Okay, and then just pick up chicken. This might be the ugly side of them. Oh, it is. Okay. Let me put it back over. Ah, it's beautiful. Amazing. Actually, you know what? Let me put it back on the ugly side because I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing. Okay. So now that we've got our chicken folded again, we are going to brush on mayonnaise. So it's going to be about a tablespoon for each of these chicken breasts. If you want to do more, if you want to do less, this is what's going to help keep the chicken moist, but also help stick some breadcrumbs together, which we will talk about shortly. So liberally just slather on that mayonnaise. I would say probably not too thick of a layer, so that way it helps the panko not become entirely wet. Okay, so before I turn these over, we do have our breadcrumbs. This is a mix of 1 cup of not breadcrumbs, of panko, 1 cup of panko, and then also I have a 4 cheese blend that's shredded to be actually very fine, so nearly grated. It's Asiago, Fontina, Parmesan, and Provolone, just to give a little bit of extra oomph to the this panko breading. And then also I believe it's about a tablespoon of the same garlic and herb seasoning. So I'm just going to mix that in there really well together. Gosh, that just continues to smell amazing. And then now you can get the cheese in there. It's very earthy, very savory, very delicious. Okay. That's beautifully and evenly mixed. So now we are just going to put here the panko. And panko is a little bit lighter than breadcrumbs, which is what I wanted to try using today. If you are folks that are not doing carbs, or you can't have the breadcrumbs or the panko for any reason, you can also do this breading by crushing up chicharrones or pork rinds. You can put them in a food processor and pulse it down to something like this. Or my personal method, similar to what we did with banoffee pie, just put those chicharrones in a Ziploc bag and pound them out with a rolling pin. And that will give you the same effect as this bread or panko crumbs, or breading as well. Because really what you're trying to do is achieve that texture. And what chicharrones will do is they will also crisp up and make a coating on the chicken as well. Okay, so we'll do this other side. They're beautiful. All right, now I'm going to firmly grasp it and turn it over. Ta-da! Excellent. And now you have the beautiful side. And by beautiful, I mean more smooth. All parts of the chicken are beautiful, don't you worry. Okay. And then I think, yep. Okay. Ta-da! Okay. And now we're going to take this again. Perfect. And I know mayonnaise is also similar to mustard, but probably more so with mayonnaise, is a polarizing condiment. So there are definitely other ways to do a cordon bleu, with like an egg wash, or dredging in eggs and then dredging in whatever else that you want to coat this with. But this seemed like a great way to try it out. So this is what I'm doing. Excellent. And also, I'm using garlic and herb seasoning, but if there's something else that you want to try, I mean, these are just very basic components. It's chicken, it's meat stuffed inside, seasonings, and then crusty stuff. So, really make it whatever you feel like, or whatever you have in the pantry, really. You don't even have to put the crust on it, but traditionally cordon bleu has the crust. So just call it meat stuffed chicken. I think next time I do this, I will probably dress this on the sheet pan. But you know what? We'll fix anything that we feel like we need to once we get it on the sheet pan. Done and dusted. So I have my hefty baking sheet. I've covered it in aluminum foil, and sprayed it with olive cooking spray. So we're going to go ahead and transfer these over. Da-da-da. And we're also going to cut these in half to be more manageable. But I didn't want to have to move 4 pieces from the plate, so here we are. Okay, so I'm going to cut this not necessarily exactly in half, but a little bit higher, because this does have more meat in this part of the breast, and so that'll, once they shrink and cook, that'll be a little bit more even. So I'm just gonna say this is the best place. Okay. Nice. We're going to split this. Oh, oh, oh. Okay. And then for this. Okay. Nice. Perfect. Just gonna fix up these ends here. They look like little masterpieces already. And you can leave them whole if you prefer. If this is something that you're like serving as a main entree and you want it to look impressive and you're not sure how this is gonna go, feel free to leave them whole. Okay. And we're just going to kind of plump up wherever we had to put pressure when we were cutting them. And then also, like, look, whoa, fancy. That's a real chef move for you. In case you had any questions here. Perfect. Oh, she's a little naked back here. There you are, Angel. Okay. And you need some on the end of you. Perfect. So we are finished prepping the chicken. Now we need to put it into the oven for about 30 minutes or so, for the chicken to cook through and then for everything to melt. While we do that, we'll make a sauce. So let's do that. While our beautiful chicken cordon bleu is cooking in the oven, we're going to make a sauce for it. I've melted down 1 tablespoon of butter, and we're going to add in 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour. This is going to help us create a roux, a base for the sauce. So what we're doing right now is probably about a couple of minutes. We're going to cook down this flour with the butter. And then that will help take the flour taste out of the mixture. There we go. And you'll just keep moving this around. This is on low heat, just to make sure that it doesn't burn. And we've got time for the chicken, so it's not like we have to go very fast on this. Perfect. And like I said, this is going to take a couple of minutes, but if you're ever concerned, just taste it and see if you get like that powdery flour taste. If you don't know what flour tastes like, taste flour. Nice. And this is actually how you start different types of sauces and like gravies is with a roux. So butter and a little bit of flour. Okay. This is looking great. We're going to go ahead and add in, we have a 1/4 cup here of chicken stock. If you want, you can also use white wine. We just happen to have this on hand. This is going to help us build our sauce. And then once we incorporate that with the butter and flour mixture, then we're gonna add more mustard. Nice. Okay, so that's all mixed together. We're gonna add in a tablespoon of, I'm gonna call it Cherchies mustard. Why am I going to dedicate an episode to mustard and only slather it on the inside of some chicken? All right. And you know what? If we put more than a tablespoon in this recipe of the sauce, so be it. So be it. We're going to get through it. Okay. Perfect. Get all of that goodness in there. And because this didn't touch any chicken, and because I'm not going to use this for anything else, and whisk this here. Nice. It's already looking creamy and delicious. Perfect. We're going to get a little more time in here for this to all incorporate. Nice. And then we are going to add in a half cup of warmed milk or room temperature milk. Add this in here. Just going to slowly incorporate this. And it's warm just because you're putting it into warm liquid and you don't want it to curdle. It kind of helps with incorporating it. Do that. I'm just pouring it little by little and then making sure that it's all mixed in one color and then putting the rest in there. You don't have to be so cautious, but that's what I felt like today. Okay. And then we're going to bring back our friends, the 4 cheeses, and we'll put a tablespoon of this in here too. You know what? And if you do more than a tablespoon, it's okay. All right, so we're going to incorporate this. Perfect. And lastly, we are going to put in some salt and pepper to taste. I'm just going to do like a little bit. There's that. And then pepper. Nice. Put that in there. So we're going to continue to let this cook and reduce down a little bit. So it's a little thicker. And then we still have a little bit of time left to go on the chicken. So we'll wait for that as well. And there she is, our chicken cordon bleu, and she's finished. So I actually ended up leaving the chicken in for a little bit longer, for about 45 minutes instead of 30 minutes. And then also to get this golden brownness on the panko breading, I switched over to broiling. So I just turned off the baking of the oven. I turned on broiling and just left the pan in there. And I was very conscious, staring at my little cordon bleus through the window just to make sure that none of the breading burned. And the oven was a little uneven, so I moved things around. So just remember, get to know your oven, and then that way you can notice those things too, because sometimes there are hotter spots in an oven than just being all around even. So with that, I cannot wait to taste this absolutely delicious chicken cordon bleu. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to try it without any accoutrements. So here we are. And I'm going to cut this in half so you can see what we're working with here. Nice. Perfect. So we've got our ham, our melty cheese, our different layers. Absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to start from the end here. Take this gorgeous little bite. Oh gosh. Grab some of this melty cheese. Oh. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Mmm. That's amazing. That ham on the little bit that was like peeking out of the chicken got crispy. It was in there. You can still taste a little bit of that mustard tang. The mayonnaise helped keep the moisture in the chicken while we were baking it. That, and just the garlic taste as well. That whole garlic herb seasoning, very herbaceous, giving it a next level taste to really feel like you're not just having one note proteins and cheese kind of like mashed together. The texture is really good. I love all of that. So now what we're gonna do, we have our sauce. The original recipe I was referencing only called for Parmesan cheese. So the 4 cheese blend that I was using, I did have to make sure to keep that on the heat and whisk it a little bit more so that way the cheeses could all melt and meld together. But it looks really beautiful. There you are. That's a little bit of the sauce there. Let's see how this goes. Mm. Mm. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? That's mustard, cheesy goodness. It just enhances what's already painted inside and the cheese that's already outside on the crust of the chicken. It's just delicious. And then it helps just add that extra level of fancy because you don't have to have the sauce necessarily if you're like, oh, well, I don't really want to do that part of the dish, but it kind of elevates it to what it is. Traditionally, Cordon Bleu has a sauce that accompanies it. But yeah, that is really nicely done. Creamy, velvety, to play against the crunchiness of the outside, and kind of marry the cheese on the outside together. And of course, last but not least, we're bringing back mustard and we're going to give it a go here. So just a tad, just a little bit of the mustard. We're going to put that here on the side. I'm going to cut off a piece, a little bite here with the chicken, and then just kind of scoop up the mustard. Mmm. That's really different. That's really a different play of the mustard that's like inside of the chicken and then in the sauce. It was a little bit more florally. Um, Not so like overly floral, like if you had too much rose or something in a recipe, but that just kind of gave it a different side of what this mustard could be. Wow. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have a side of the sauce, a side of the mustard, finish this out. That is absolutely excellent. I am so happy with that. I'm so pleased. Well, I hope you try this out. I'm so glad that you are watching Cultural Discovery. If there's anything that you want me to try, any sort of product that you love, and maybe I can incorporate that in a recipe, please definitely leave all of that down below in the comments. I would love to hear from you. But yeah, thank you so much for taking this time to hang out with me today. And yeah, bye.